this is Rumor, and I am here to introduce a spread that I recently created, my Christmas counterpart to the haunted house spread that I featured in October, and I call this spread the Tarot Tannenbaum. Why? Because these cards are going to end up in the shape of a Christmas tree. I am certainly not the first nor the last person to ever attempt this. But what I am newly attempting is just working with this spread in general. I have only used it once for a personal reading for myself. And today I thought I would just do a quick general one that we can take away as a collective message, perhaps. I've never attempted that with such a large spread, but we'll see how that goes. So in any case, just to zoom in for a bit, I am going to be working with my Christmas tarot, which I found on Etsy at Wisdom by KK. And then the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. So both of these decks I mentioned in my previous video as being my December tarot table decks, along with the Dreaming Way. And this is a spread, just like with the haunted house spread, you could do the entire thing with just the same tarot deck. I like to bring an oracle, as always. But to get started here, first of all, my crystals, I've got some snowflake obsidian and snow quartz because I'm just the most adorable thing ever, and I wanted to have snowy crystals for winter. Speaking of snow, oh my gosh, we do not get a lot of snow here in London, in the south of England, but I woke up today to a winter wonderland, and I have to say, it's quite pretty. I'm enjoying it. I am a Chicago girl, so I am used to harsh winters with lots and lots and lots of snow, so it's actually really fun to see here, but I'm sure it's proving a nightmare out there in other ways for areas that are not used to the snow. It's not always as much fun, but I hope the kids are getting outside and that it's good packing snow for a decent snowman. Okay, enough of that. I'm just getting in those winter vibes for my winter spread here. I'm going to put the Yule Oracle to the side for now. I'm going to zoom out for this ginormous spread. I'm not going to read reversals. I do sometimes, but not on this day. Okay, so we start at the top of our tree with the star. This is what guides you. Going to the next layer of our tree. This represents the falling needles, because anyone who has put up a real tree knows inevitably the needles fall. I would venture to say that even with a fake tree, you can get falling needles. But in any case, the falling needles represent what to shed in the past year. Leave it in 2022. Our third card represents the ornaments. So much like a tree branch holds an ornament, this is what you will carry with you into the next year. So this is what you shed in the past year, and this is what you carry forward with you into the next. And then our bottom layer here is going to be the branches. representing generally growth. Specifically in this spread, I have this growth depicted through gratitude. And this is going to be a past, present, and future reading for this line. Something to be grateful for in the past year, something to be grateful for now in this moment, and something in the upcoming year to be grateful for. Now, this might be one of those things where in hindsight, you can look back and realize you're grateful for it. But sometimes the things that push us to grow can be difficult. It can come through challenge. I think that most growth, the best growth, does come from challenge. And it's in those moments when it's most important to have gratitude. We might want to lament something that's happening to us, but there's also something else in any given moment that we can look at as a blessing. And sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. So I guess with this one especially, looking at it in retrospect, this past thing to be grateful for is probably a bit more clear to you now. And maybe in the present, it's something that you haven't seen until this moment. And then this, it's something to anticipate. You haven't seen it yet, but, keep it in the back of your mind, especially if you are kind of stumbling on a tough time. Like, well, what is the one thing that is really helping you through it? What is the good thing to come out of it? What is not lost, for instance. And so we'll get to that when we get to it. But then at the base of our tree here is our trunk. So whereas the star is what guides you, the trunk of our Christmas tree is going to be what grounds you. Just something that can kind of help you keep your feet on the ground. Maybe if life does get to be a lot, it's the thing that can keep you centered and moving forward and not going adrift. So before I bring the oracle cards in, then we'll just work with these. So how about I zoom in a bit to our top rows here. I hope you don't mind the angle I'm working at here. Okay, so the star, this is what guides you. And since I'm doing this reading for the collective, this is a guide for all of us in the coming year. 3 of Cups. Isn't that lovely? So just generally speaking to this, because again, lots of cards, and there's going to be more on the table by the time I'm done. I don't want to linger on each one too long, but look at this and think of what that means for you. I think that it's the camaraderie and the love and the joy that we share with others. That is something to get us through whatever comes our way. And so this is something that may have been present all through this year, and now it's going into the next, but it's something that's really coming to the fore at this time, as we are at this flipping of the calendar year and starting anew in 2023. Look to the people around you, look to those who get you, and understand where you're coming from and the ones that you most want to celebrate with when something good happens. You're not alone. So now for the following needle, something to shed in this past year. 8 of Wands. Interesting. Looks like this girl's got like a handful of tinsel and perhaps an ornament in her hand, while if this is her little sister is sleeping with an angel watching over. So I'm not going to lie, I'm struggling to see like the direct correspondence between this and an 8 of Wands, other than perhaps I always see 8 of Wands as being that like flurry, at least as far as RWS. I predominantly do use the RWS system, but you usually see that flurry of activity with the wands, and I always see that as like a rush of opportunities coming your way and having to kind of ride that momentum and not delay in kind of making a decision and choosing something to run with here. And so the 8, though, numerologically is also a very stable number. So that's where the RWS interpretation of 8 of Wands doesn't always make sense to me, because if you're going to look at it numerologically, this should be like more of a steady, stable foundation versus like this flurry of things coming at you and that can be potentially overwhelming you. So I'm just kind of seeing a balance here where it's like this girl, she's still up and playing or decorating, being productive, while the other one has put it to rest. Maybe she's done what she's had to do, and now she's ready for a good night's sleep here and enjoying the rest after a job well done. And so maybe something to leave in the last year if there was just sort of that overwhelm of a lot going on and things moving fast and having to keep that pace. And so perhaps now this is your opportunity to get some shut-eye, just be proud of what you accomplished. If you weren't able to do it all, you just have to let those wands fly and let it lie. And perhaps going forward, you can have a more stabilized year where your activity goes. And this is going for me too, if I think about it. There's been a lot going on in the last year, a lot of obligations and getting pulled in different directions and a lot of travel. And so I don't mind a little stability there. So then these are the ornaments. This is what we carry into the next year. 10 of Pentacles. Aw. I just kicked my camera. Sorry about that. But I guess if you have attained some sense of abundance this year, however you would interpret that in the framework of your own life, maybe this is the fruits of these efforts that you are now being able to lay to rest. And now you can just go forth and enjoy that and share it with others. So now moving down to our gratitude layer. Oh my gosh, now that I'm finished knocking my phone stand all around, I've got my act back together here. So here we are at the branches, which represent things to be grateful for in this past year, in this present moment, in the upcoming year. So something from this past year that we should be grateful for. Oh, look at Page of Cups. Now, as a court card, this is capturing either someone else in our lives or traits that we ourselves embody. So as someone else, could this be a person? It could be an actual child or someone youthful, at the very least, someone who is a child at heart, who has been in your life, maybe come into it at the right time when you really needed most to smile. Someone who's just very creative and upbeat and can be silly and playful and can think of things outside of the box and bring a fresh outlook onto things. I also see this as potentially being ourselves if you yourself have been trying to embrace the spirit of that. Maybe you took on a new creative project, whether that was professionally or just a personal hobby, just something just fun, something to kind of indulge in for once if things have otherwise been difficult and you're always giving to others, and this was just sort of a treat for yourself and just kind of embracing a childlike outlook. Because I can say for myself, this is definitely something I have been working on for this past year. I've been trying to look at the world again with a childlike curiosity where everything just amazes me and fascinates me and seems super fun, just trying to find that spark and light from within again. And so that I can carry that around with me and then be able to shine that out on the things that are darker. But yeah, I love the Page of Cups and I always aspire to be that, I guess. But think about that for yourselves. Is that something that you've been able to do for yourself? Or is there someone else who's been bringing that presence into your life, has taught you how to embrace your inner child and have a little silly fun? So in the present now, something that we can be grateful for is 9 of Swords. Interesting. So I see this kid who seems to have woken up to Santa hovering over his bed. That would be freaking terrifying. I always thought of that as a kid, even when I believed in Santa and I wanted to believe. I was very sad when I no longer believed in Santa. But there is that idea that like, oh, there's going to be a man in our house while we're all sleeping, and mom and dad might be asleep too, and therefore unable to protect me if Santa comes after me. So that is kind of alarming. And so I'm tying this in with the Nine of Swords because I see this as something that could be really scary. Again, and there's really no way for me to spin this situation as anything that's not scary. I mean, even finding out that it's Santa, I'm sorry, if he showed up right next to my bed, I'd be crapping my bed sheets. So in any case, in a more positive light, I will spin this as kind of facing your fear, something that seems like scarier than what it actually is. Then once the lights are on, like, oh, it's Santa and he's brought me presents and he's making my every dream come true here. So he's not going to harm me. It wasn't as bad as I thought. So that's how I always see the Nine of Swords, is like when my imagination and fears can kind of get the best with me. Maybe it runs away with me and I blow it up to be something bigger than it actually is. So I just see this as like being grateful for somehow, some way we have faced a fear and realized it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. Or maybe it was, but we realized we were able to survive it. We were able to get past it and move on and face another fear another day. But I think that there is a lot of value to take away from that. And especially in a situation where you might see that it's something that got blown out of proportion and it's really not that scary once you shine the light on it. There's definite value in that. And so I know I'm certainly grateful for that. I faced one of my biggest fears in life this year, and it hasn't been easy at all. There are things about it that are going to continue to be difficult, but I mean, I'm still breathing. I'm still alive. I still love and laugh, and there you go. So going into the future year, something for us to be grateful for. We've got another court card here. So again, this could be a person who represents the King of Cups to us, or it could be us embodying the spirit of the King of Cups. So this presence, whether it's you or it's someone else, this kind, caring, compassionate being, someone who has a handle on emotions, can control them and channel them more positively. So if this is you, maybe it is coming out of this confrontation of something scary and getting your emotions back into line, getting yourself back into a flow where you can breathe in and exhale, and you know you've got this. And you're able to manage that all right. Or it's someone that you can go to who helps you to breathe and feel supported and loved. So I don't know what this could mean for all of us going forward, but I think it bodes very well that this source of loving support is going to be out there for us, even if it's coming from within ourselves. So let's take good care of ourselves, okay? And take good care of other people, because I think with the King of Cups too, even if we're embodying that, once we've tended to our self-care, then we're able to share that with others. And so I guess we'll keep an eye out then for the ways in which we're able to do that. We're able to show up for ourselves and for others, or if it's someone else who's showing up for us just when we need them the most. Okay, and so then we reach the base of our tree, which is the trunk. This is what grounds us. And it's very interesting now to see the Fool as something that would be grounding, when traditionally we see the Fool about to step off a cliff where there is literally no ground to walk on. But let's see here. This particular Fool, this Father Christmas figure here, is not going to be stepping off a cliff. He's on a path and has a walking stick in hand to stabilize his journey. So that doesn't seem too risky to me. Perhaps if we are starting a new journey, we're starting a new year, that leaves an awful lot of unknowns ahead of us, right? So it's difficult to feel grounded when you're staring into this vast, uncertain future. But I'm taking my cue from the demeanor of this guy that we've got everything we need. Perhaps it is this achievement and abundance that our past efforts have awarded us that we can now carry forward with us. So there's something here that ensures we're provided for, and we do have this stick for support. We're going to have our King of Cups going forward there for us. So that helps to make a new journey a little less unsteady, a little less scary, and we might feel stronger for it having already confronted our fears. And again, when those times get tough, if we've got that Page of Cups in our lives, that reminds us of the excitement of a new beginning and discovering something new and having a healthy curiosity about things and being able to see the fun and the light in that. That is all something that we can take with us to help us on that journey. So perhaps the thing here that grounds us is that even if things are feeling uncertain right now, I just get a sense from this, like, we've got this. We have what we need. And I know that kind of sounds like more of a magician message, but I do see this fool reaching that magician stage sooner rather than later, where we've got everything that we need. And it's just a matter of taking that first step and trusting ourselves to take that first step. So perhaps we don't want to run into it too impetuously. This is a more grounded looking fool to me. I don't know that we want to get like overly risky in leaping before we've looked. So this could also be cautioning us perhaps to do our due diligence a bit so that we can maybe minimize the unknown quantities and be as prepared as we are possibly able to at this point, but then recognizing when you've really done all that you can do at this stage. And from that point, it really is just about putting one foot in front of the other, taking it step by step, day by day, and just trying to keep that stable footing for even when those obstacles show up in the path and might want to trip us up along the way. And we might trip up. I'm sure we undoubtedly will at times. That's just how life goes. But that doesn't mean that we can't dust the snow off ourselves if we've just face planted in it and, grab our stick and get walking again. Maybe Father Christmas here could use some snowshoes. Just make sure you've got like a good tread on your shoes as you're embarking on that journey. Okay, so that's interesting. I wonder what's up ahead for us in this shiny new year, everyone. But I mentioned to you that the oracle is going to come into it because we can't have a Christmas tree without gifts. So what I am going to do is pull 2 cards from this deck to represent 2 gifts. Bottom 2 cards wanted to come out as our presents. So the first gift to place underneath our tree. The second gift So the first gift under our tree is a gift to us from our ancestors. Now for you, maybe there's a particular ancestor that you've been working with, and this can be your message from them. Gratitude. Sorry for the shine. All that I am and all that I'll be, forever in gratitude, I'll eternally be. Isn't that lovely? Our ancestors are giving us gratitude. I'll read from the guidebook. Keywords: acknowledgement and appreciation. It can be challenging to find gratitude in times of distress and chaos, but those are the best times to lean into what you have to be thankful for. Gratitude is like an anchor, holding you steady when the world around you spins out of control. Most of us are thankful for the big things like a new car, money, or finding someone you love. But what about small things like the perfect cup of coffee in the morning or hearing your favorite song on the radio? You can even be grateful for things that haven't happened to you, such as not getting the flu this year. There are so many ways to bring gratitude into your life, and the more you do, the more you will see your manifestations coming to pass. You have pulled gratitude as a reminder to be thankful for your situation, no matter the circumstances. You may not understand why this is happening to you, but trust that it leads you towards a divine purpose. The universe needs to feel appreciation, just like you and me. The more you can be grateful, even when you'd rather complain, the more the universe will respond in thanks for your acknowledgement. Gratitude may also help you to see your situation from a new point of view. Wow, if that doesn't embrace the spirit of the branches layer here, where it is all about gratitude. And just like I had mentioned before, it's being grateful even when things are tough. It's recognizing the blessings that are there and how even those challenges are helping us in some way. Even if we can't readily see it, in the long run, there's some benefit to be gained from it. If we can recognize that, and if we can learn the lessons that we need to and push ourselves to grow in certain ways. So in any case, as I'm doing this for the collective, this could mean something different for you. If there's anything that I read from that guidebook that really jumped out to you, if ancestor work is something that you have been doing, you could take this as a sign that they're grateful to you for what you've been doing, that you've been honoring them and acknowledging them. And this can also just be taken as a general message from them. Like, hey, the best gift that we can give you is this gift of gratitude, of looking at the world with gratitude, of you assuming that perspective so that you can keep perspective on the situations and be looking for those silver linings. So however you want to take that. So then the second gift underneath our Christmas tree is a gift that we give to others. So it's not all about us here, folks. We receive, we give too. Tranquility. In thy womb of blissful quieting and calming stillness lives the world of worlds, spellbound to the silence. Okay, so then the keywords here are peace, silence, and healing as your gift to give to others. To be at peace means to have inner harmony despite what is happening around you. Imagine how much easier Christmas shopping and holiday preparation would be if nothing ruffled your feathers. The same goes for life. You cannot change other people or external factors, but you can control how you respond to them. Inner peace is created through an acceptance of what is beyond your control. What is the purpose of worry if it cannot contribute to a change in your situation? You have pulled tranquility because what you have asked about is beyond your control. It may seem ominous, but the fear is often much worse than the thing itself. Excessive worrying will only cause you more pain and could lead to self-fulfilling prophecies. You are being guided to release stress and seek peace. Reach out for help if you feel like this is not something you can manage independently. Having another perspective could help to ease the stress. So interesting. So that could be speaking to us if we are the ones feeling the stress and maybe we're kind of becoming a lot for someone else. So the gift that we can give them is for us to, again, acknowledge this Nine of Swords, face it, see it's not as bad as we think it is, and release that and try to calm ourselves down and try to approach things from a more peaceful situation. Conversely, it could also be this other person or other people in your lives who are feeling the stress. And then you are stepping in maybe as their King of Cups that can just kind of help, talk them down and give them the perspective that they need to just, again, breathe, relax, and move forward. And so this came up too with the Fool, right? Where we talked about like that unknown path, and there are going to be those things beyond our control that we can't prepare for already. We don't know what to prepare for yet. But it's about keeping that centeredness and keeping that steady footing to navigate that rockier terrain. We can't avoid it. I mean, that's never going to change about life. It's never going to get easy. We're never going to have all of the sources of our worries and concerns entirely behind us. And I think that's something I've been trying to remind myself too. Like, I'm always looking to this elusive moment when everything is going to feel okay and there's not going to be anything, to be concerned about. But I mean, come on, that's never going to happen. And so if we keep waiting for that, we're never going to be happy, right? So it's like, you've got to just be able to roll with these punches. And I know I myself have been really working to find my centering. I've heard of the metaphor before of like the axis at the center of a wheel is that wheel. And you can think of it as the wheel of fortune with the ups and downs in the good times and bad, but trying to be that axis at the center of it so that as it's all turning, you're turning with it, but you're not getting all jogged around and thrown off by it. You're staying centered as you do it. And so I think that's the best that any of us can do. And so, just looking at this overall Tannenbaum then, oh my gosh, I am working real hard here to be the axis and breathing through all the friggin' technical difficulties that I've been dodging left and right throughout this reading. I am so sorry. If it is a shaky and really choppy video, I keep knocking into my stand. I had the actual ring light fall off. Now my phone just died. And then in trying to get it back on, it fell out and hit everything. And so whatever. But I've taken the opportunity to scooch everything up a bit on my table anyway, so we can get a bit of a better bird's eye view of it all to see our Christmas tree and just looking back to where it started with our star, what guides us, the Three of Cups. Let's look to the people in our lives and have this reciprocity in love and caring. What we receive, make sure we are also giving it, and just also know that it is there to receive from others. Who are our people to raise our cups with this season and celebrate? Who are we celebrating from this past year, and who is going to be by our side as we venture into the next? I think that that's a key thing to remember, especially if we've been having to confront some fears lately. We don't have to go it alone. And if there was a lot being thrown at us over this last year, now is our chance to acknowledge what we were able to accomplish and just put it to rest. And what we couldn't get to, we couldn't get to. And hopefully that's something that we can also leave behind too. And for what we did accomplish in this last year, the bounty of that, however you might translate that achievement and abundance, that's what we get to bring forward. And again, something that we can enjoy and share with others. So we're being grateful for then this Page of Cups presence in our lives, someone else or you that just brought the fun in, brought the innocence and the creativity and playful passion, and just helped keep things light when they otherwise might have felt a little heavy. And with regard to that heaviness, that we were able to look at it and see, well, maybe it's not as great as we thought it was, and kind of had this big mental block against this thing. And it's just a matter of adjusting that mindset and realizing, look, even in that fear, look at the gifts we can receive from that. What can we be grateful for? How did those challenges help us somehow? And then who is that King of Cups going to be going into the next year? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be someone else that you can turn to? Whatever the case might be, again, let's keep the reciprocity going as we give and receive with others. And what keeps us grounded in this new journey that we're embarking on is the fact that we have already come a long way, and we have some tools at our disposal as a result of that. If it has brought us knowledge, a sense of adaptability, a more positive mindset, if it's shown us how maybe we can't prepare for everything, but there are certain things that we can prepare for. And so we can do that work now to help avoid any missteps going forward. And for the ones that are inevitably going to happen, just be ready for that. Just know to expect for that. That's the one thing you can prepare for when it comes to uncertainty, is just expect the unexpected. And so maybe we'll be able to roll with that as well. And so then, meanwhile, our ancestors gifting us with gratitude, whether they're grateful to you for what you have been giving to them, or if it's just gifting you with that perspective of gratitude. And then we give to others that sense of tranquility, whether it's finding that tranquility within ourselves so that we're not like adding our stress to someone else's plate, or if we're seeing that they're kind of in a tailspin and they're getting really worried and afraid about something, and if we can help bring a sense of peace to them. So now here's an optional 10th card, if you like. This one I didn't originally plan for, but I stumbled on it quite by surprise when I was doing this reading for myself. And I got a flyer. I just had a card shoot out of the deck, and I like to put those to the side and look at them as an extra insight. And so I just realized, hey, you could do the same thing, whether it's a flyer or maybe you do just want to shuffle a 10th bonus card. That is entirely up to you. But if you're kind of hankering for a little more for the holidays, here is your chance to get a stocking stuffer. So this card you can just hang right up there as your stocking stuffer, as a bonus little nifty gifty for yourself. Go on ahead. You've earned it. The unknown. Sound familiar? Think on it, and you will stumble, for the heart is a ghost upon the unknown. Let it bleed into the depths, bearing nothing but desire. Cryptic much? Gotta get the guidebook on that one. Keywords: potential, creativity, and risk. The unknown is wide open to you now, and pulling this card is a sign that your creative power and ability to manifest your dreams is growing. Take advantage of this unusual period of support and abundance. Visualize all of your deepest desires and greatest wishes. Be the master of your canvas and paint the image of your dreams. Will you dare to entertain your biggest goals? The unknown requires you to be willing to take a risk. What you want cannot be achieved from a place of comfort or in doing what you already know. With significant risk comes great rewards, and the unknown says now is the time to take a leap of faith. Do not be afraid to fail. Even failure has values and lessons that will help you grow. Be bold and be willing to go against conformity for the sake of freedom and divine alignment with your soul's purpose. So, wow, a lot of buzzwords in there. I feel like repeating words that have come up in talking through this reading. And, maybe I misspoke then when I was saying, oops, I just bumped my camera again. Sorry if things shifted, but I was just going to say, I guess I was encouraging being a bit of a more risk-averse fool, but inevitably there is going to be the risk there, right? Because as mentioned before, you can't prepare for everything. There is always going to be the unknown. So whatever unknown is ahead of this fool, there's always going to be an element of risk in that. I guess what I'm saying is we're facing fears and we're trying to keep our centering and keep emotions and fears at bay and everything. It doesn't hurt to prepare for what we can at least anticipate. So then that strips down the amount of the unknown. But then for what is left and that we can't see yet down the road, we'll just celebrate that. We get so afraid of what we can't see into the future, but we forget that there's great gifts in that unknown too. The things that we don't see coming that end up being enormous blessings. So it does not always have to be that scary thing. So as we move forward on our journey, everyone, into 2023, I wish you the happiest of holidays, whatever you might be celebrating at this time of year. And maybe it's not even a holiday, but just showing reverence for this year end, taking stock, indeed, looking back on the year that has happened and looking forward on the one yet to come. Wherever you find yourself at this time, I hope that you are well, and you're certainly not alone. We're all in this journey of life together. So many blessings, everyone. And if you end up using this spread, let me know what you think of it. Like I said, it's new. This is only the second reading that I've done with it, so I'm still sort of testing it out myself. If you also have a spread that you like to do for year end, for similar purposes, other type of ritual at this time, honestly, I would love to hear about it. So please comment below and let me know what you're up to. And again, as always, I thank you so much for being here. I am grateful for you and wish you great abundance and joy as 2022 flows into 2023. Bye.